distributive property. The distributive property is a really cool law that works with multiplication. And you can use it for a lot of really cool things. And I can show you in some of the old, in some of the last videos that I did, how you can use this to be quicker with your math. Okay, so this says, and a lot of people, they look at these problems and they say, oh, well, this is just doing it. Like, yeah, you're doing it, but you're gaining a skill. And if you know how to apply the skill, then we can use it to get better at math. So this one says 4 times 10 plus 7. Watch, can you see this is 4 times 17? Okay, it is. This is 4 times 17, but watch. In this, it only shows you this, and it says, now look, I can do 10 plus 7, okay? And if I'm using PEMDAS, which is the order of operations, then I'm going to do parentheses first, okay? Parentheses is in here. Whatever's inside the parentheses, I perform this action first. So I'm going to have 4 times 17. All right, you see it's 4 times 17. Well, this step doesn't want you to do it this way. And the reason it doesn't want you to do it this way is, you know, later on, we're not going to have this x mean multiplication. It's going to be just a dot, or it's going to be left alone completely. And they're just going to leave it alone, and it's going to mean multiplication because they're going to have x's as missing numbers. So it's going to, and I don't know why, you know, we go all the way through math and they're like, x means multiplication. And now all of a sudden we're going to change it and it means a question mark. So that's what it means when you see an X somewhere. It really just means a question mark, okay? So I'll use a question mark for now, just so that you're not confused by having letters in your math. But you will have letters in your math soon. Don't freak out because I can teach you how to do it. So don't worry about it. But I'm going to show you. Now, if I'm doing the order of operations, how do I do the parentheses first? I can't, because I don't know what number I'm adding to 7. So I can't do this first. So here's what's going to happen. I'm going to use the distributive property, because if you look, I'm doing 4 times 10 plus 4 times 7. And if you look at this and up and down, the up and down math way, and I don't know what that's called actually. I should find out what that means. I just call it up and down math. So when I'm doing it with the up and down math method, I'm going to do 4 times 7, which is 28, and I'm going to do 4 times 10. Did you see that I'm doing 4 times 7 and 4 times 10? This is just a way to do this sideways. So 4 times 1 plus 2, 4 times 1 is 4 plus 2 is 6, okay? And that's the answer. Now, I can do it this way, but if you learn this way, you can, number one, you're learning an algebra function that you can use later on, and I can do mental math in my head, multiplication in my head. And I have taught children to do double by double multiplication using this method, and it really does work. So, and I use it all the time. So 4 times some number, 4 times some number plus 4 times 7. And this is what it looks like when you know. So when you're doing algebra, I'm just showing you how this works. You'll have 28 plus 4 times some number, and you'll be solving for what this number is. And I'll know that it's 68 in algebra, okay? We will work on this later, but I wanted you to see that you do use this method elsewhere, okay? Sometimes it's helpful to see. All right, so let's back here. When I'm writing this answer, I want to write the steps of what I did, not just the answer, because I could say, okay, I did this is 4 times 17 is 68. This is correct, okay? It's right. So is this. But what this is trying to get me to do is to learn a skill. So I want to do 4 times 10, and this plus is going to go right here, 4 times 7, and that is the answer. And 4 times 10 is 40, and 4 times 7 is 28, 40, 50, 60, 8. Do you see how this sometimes can be easier than this? All right, let's go to another one. Now, if I have 6 times 20, I'm sorry, I miswrote 6 times 20 minus 5. Now this is not multiplication, but it is showing you, this is not going to help you very much, okay? This is actually 6 times 15, all right, because 20 minus 5 is 15. But I'm going to show you, you can also do 6 times 10 plus 5. This would give you the exact same answer. So I'm going to show you, but I'm going to write it the way the book wants me to write it. And this is 6 times 20 minus 6 times 5. This method does not help you with multiplication. Okay, I'm going to show you. It only helps you with multiplication with the plus, but you still got to learn how to do it because you will use it with algebra. So 6 times 2 is 12. 6 times 20 is 120. Minus 6 times 5 is 30. Okay, so this is 90. This one, if I do it with addition, you know, it's the same problem. If you're confused by this, stop listening, but some of you are not. So 6 times 10 is 60, plus 6 times 5 is 30, and this gives me 90. If you see a pattern there, wonderful. If you don't, this is what you need to know. This is how we're going to do this. Let's do some more. So if I have 7 times 5 plus 4. Okay, this curriculum wants me to go like this. 7 times 5 plus 7 times 4. And 7 times 5. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. And then 7 times 4 is 28. Okay. And 35, 45, 55. 55 plus 8. 55 plus 8. 8 is 5 and 3. So 55 plus 5 is 63. And we can check that because I'm not sure because I kind of got lost. 8 and 5 is 13. Yep, 63. Okay. All right. If you get confused on how I do mental math, I'm just doing it. I want you to see how it works. I'm going to show you another one. This one is 4 times 8 minus 3. So we're going to use the distributive property because this 4 is being multiplied by 8 and negative 3. So 4 times 8 minus 4 times 3. This one's going to be 4 and 8 times 4 is 32 minus 12. 32 minus 10 is 22. 22 minus 2 is 20. Okay, and I'll show you with the up and down so you can check it. And you should check it. If you're doing mental math, you should really be checking it, especially if you're not familiar with it. Okay, so this next one, we're going to do 9 times 10 plus 6. And it'll be 9 times 10 plus 9 times 6. 9 times 10 is 90. Plus 9 times 6 is 54. So this is 144 because 9 times 10, or 9 plus 10 is 100, plus another 40 is 144, and I'll check it. You don't have to know it as quick as I do. If you need to do this part up and down, do this part up and down. 0 plus 4 is 4, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 144. 8 times 20 minus 5. 8 times 20. Ooh, I'm going to use my 0 rule here. Minus, oops, that's not a plus. This is a minus. This is going to throw you off some. Whatever is in between here, that's what goes in between these two. Throws me off sometimes. 8 times 20 minus 8 times 5. 8 times 2 is 16, and I stick a 0 on there, so it's 160, minus 8 times 5 is 40, 6 minus 4 is 2, that's 120. And if you want to check it, check it. All right, the next part, I'm going to use a different piece. So I have 56 plus 24. Okay. 56 plus 24. I'm going to use reverse distributive property. What this is saying is I'm going to have some number, okay? I'm sorry. Some number twice, and it's going to be added because I have an addition here. Oops, sorry. And these two are going to be multiplied. Okay, so this one, 56 and 24, they have to have the same number in this front part. I'm going to use 8. I know they're both divisible by 8. And if you're not sure, use a number chart, okay? Don't be, or a multiplication chart. So 8 and 7 is 56. And 8, 16, 24. That's 8 times 3. There are other ways to do this, but I want to get to the greatest one. So 56 and 24 are both divisible by 2. So half of 50 and half of 6. Half of 50 is 25. Half of 6 is 3. So this is 28. Half of 24. Now this one is also correct. And I can also do 4s, okay? But if I can do 2s and 4s, I want to get to the biggest number. That's the one I want to get to, the biggest number that I can multiply them both by. Okay, so this one, 30 plus 42. Okay, if it's divisible by 2 and 3, and if you haven't done the divisibility rules yet, you'll know that if it's divisible by 2, it's got ends in 0, 2, 4, 6, or 8. And if you add the digits and they get to 3, 6, or 9, okay, then they are divisible by 3. So 3 plus 0 is 3, 4 plus 2 is 6. These are both divisible by 3, and they're both divisible by 2. So if they're divisible by 2 and 3, they're also divisible by 6. So that's a bigger number than 2 and 3, so I'm going to use that one. You can just set up, oops, I did this one backwards. Set up these things really quickly, and then it's pretty easy. So I'm going to do both of these by 6. 6, 12, 18, 24, 30. 30, I wrote a 3. 5. So 6 times 5 is 30. 30, 36, 42. 6 times 7 is 42. This part is a little bit more difficult. And if you don't understand this, we will work some more in class on this one, but really try to get to the biggest number, and I will work on divisibility rules, a video for that too.